Francois. I'm the founder of Decode. So we're building a whiteboard that helps you design and build software. When I was a kid, my parents were really strict. I was rarely allowed to watch TV or play video games. So I filled my time by drawing a lot. My own video game ideas, worlds complete with characters, maps, and stories. Eventually, I realized I could code these at a computer, and I got really hooked. The catch, I only had access to computers at school once a week and only for an hour. So every session was intense, as I had to quickly convert my ideas into code and then test them. And then it was back to the drawing board until the next week. This nightmare workflow led to a lifelong passion to remove the delay between designing and bringing ideas to life. So I grew up and I became a software engineer. And I spent the last 20 years building creative tools in many verticals like video games, robotics, and web apps. My most recent job was working at Descript on their AI video editor, where I focused on multimodal understanding. Throughout my engineering career, the tool I needed never existed. A canvas big enough for the whole process, from sketching ideas to designing interfaces to writing and explaining code. The moment I saw generative AI in action, I knew it was the breakthrough I'd been waiting for. For the last year, I built Decode on nights and weekends, building in public and sharing my progress on Twitter. I started to get noticed and people began begging to try the product. So 3 months ago, I closed a pre-seed round from Betaworks and other great investors, including incredible angels from OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Meta. I then quit my day job and I went full-time on Decode. Woot! I also convinced Sriram to join me. I loved his projects combining multimodal AI and whiteboarding interfaces. So now that you've heard our story, let's show you what we've been building. Decode is a spatial canvas that lives inside your IDE. Now you never need to leave your dev environment to think, design, or plan. We work on your local code, supporting professional development through to vibe coding. Today, we'll cover two of our favorite use cases. The first use case, Decode lets you see your entire app all at once. Every screen, state, and component on a single canvas. The second use case, you can design and do design reviews, all without leaving your IDE. Decode has multimodal understanding and can generate designs and code for you. This means you can communicate with Decode and your team using anything from drawings, text, screenshots, and soon, voice and video. You use this to describe your intent in detail or at a high level. Then you, your team, or Decode can get to work building it. You can share boards with teams by saving them alongside your code. This way, anyone can collaborate with you and our AI. Now I'll hand it off to Sriram, who'll show you Decode in action.
Hey everyone, I'm Sriram, and today I want to show you how Decode has fundamentally changed the way I build products as a front-end engineer. We're going to go through 3 scenarios of me working on Pictogram. So, the first scenario is seeing every screen of your app at once. I'm going to ask the agent to show me previews of the onboarding flow that I was working on. Decode's agent can analyze your entire code base, find the screens you're looking for, and lay them out on the canvas. And these aren't just Figma mockups. This is your actual app that you can interact with and test. Now, any change you make on the canvas gets instantly reflected. So I'm going to draw up the code for this flow. Just to show you what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mess with the button color and the background color. And let's see. First, I'm going to try it brown. It's kind of good, but let's change the background color to beige. Kind of like this. Now, this matters because typically you work in the browser and you'll just look at this one screen. And anytime you make a change, you have to click through your app, see if everything works fine. Why does this matter? With AI agents writing tens and thousands of lines of code, if they introduce subtle bugs, they might go unnoticed for days. Let me show you how that works by introducing a bug here. I instantly see on Decode, I've broken screens 2 and 3. But if I go back to the browser where I was on step 1, it looks like everything's fine. With Decode, I get the visibility when AI agents work on my code and fix them right when they happen. Now, let's go to scenario 2, design feedback. Often when you want to iterate on your apps and improve things, you want to draw on top of screenshots because that's what you get. Your design team takes screenshots of your app, you draw on top of them. But on Decode, since you have the live app in your canvas, you can just draw on top of your app. For example, here, I want to combine screens 2 and 3 and enable the mud tracker by default and change this into a picker. I also want this image to be smaller because it's too distracting. So here's an example of how I would communicate that. I draw this drop down here, say that I want to combine these two, enable this by default. Now with Decode, I can just open the agent, select all of this, and pass it as context, and ask it to make these changes. I've gone ahead and done this before the demo, and here's what it came up with. Exactly what I wanted. It combined the two features on screen 2 and 3, and this is another variant of the onboarding flow that I can now A/B test and see which one converts better. Scenario 3, improving your UX. Here's the dashboard for Pictogram, where we show some stats, its activities, and their profile, but it's kind of boring, and we want to make it more fun, but also we want to add more stats. But you can see if I add more stats here, the UI is going to get really clunky. Typically, when you want to improve the UX, you go for inspiration by looking at other products that have solved the problems that you're facing. For example, here's a health app where they've got a ring where you can add more stats. So someone added a comment that I like this for the dashboard stats. Also that our current navboard is kind of boring and that these cards look really good. Another change you'd like to make is aesthetics. You usually go to random images where you like the vibe and tone. And here we add the comments here. Now, typically, if you want changes at this scale, you have to drop off a lot because your team can only handle a few. So you pick a few, ask the engineers to implement them. But with Decode, all of these ideas come to life. I can just select all of this, pass them as context, and the agent will generate dozens of variations of your app at once. Now, you can see which ones you like, discard the ones you don't, but that's not the end. For example, here, these are the variations of the new health app that I showed, inspired by that. And let's say I like this one, but I can still iterate on it just like I showed before by drawing on top of it. Because the feedback loop with Decode is much richer. You get both visual context of your app and the structural context. And so you don't have to draw on top of screenshots. You can just draw on top of your app and test all sorts of variations. So to recap, our first scenario was looking at every screen at once and see the changes that occur live so you can spot bugs quicker and iterate on your app. Second, you can give design feedback on top of your app. This is not just for the agent, but also for your team, just to communicate and document your thought process. Improving UX. You can go from your current app, add an inspiration, and generate new variations of your app to live side by side. All right, now I'll hand it off to Francois.
I'm really proud of what we've done. All right, recapping just a little bit and getting into it a little more. LLMs can generate dozens of screens or even full apps in minutes. But with that speed comes new challenges, more design changes to review, and a higher risk of subtle bugs slipping through. And it's only going to get harder as AI gets bigger, or better and faster. Decode is going to help creators not just keep up, but take full advantage as AI becomes more powerful. AI will turn everyone into a coder and designer. And Decode will evolve to be a tool for anyone to build software, even if they've never written a line of code or designed a product. We believe Decode will be the best interface to this new era. With us, you can seamlessly scale from big picture thinking down to the smallest details. We help you turn ideas into working products at the speed of creativity. Right now, we're focusing on building our core experience and investing heavily in our multimodal AI. And next, we'll start working through our waitlist to bring in early users. If you're excited about the future of software creation, we'd love to connect. Thank you.